This is the 22nd season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, AFTCO, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk about bass fishing, and we might just change the intro music or the prelude before the intro music every single show for the entire 2026 season. I think that might look just like my thing. Just try it out. I got some stuff for tomorrow. I think you guys are really going to like. We might dive into the 50s, the 60s, the swing era. Who knows where we're going to go. One thing I do know is we made it 3 days into 2026 without a tournament bass fishing controversy, as two anglers, including the guy who won, DQ'd from the BFL at Sam Rayburn. You can go to MLF to read the press release on all that. Maybe it had to do with some communication, some illegal communication on the water with fellow anglers. So there you go. 3 days in. And we're already looking at the DQ count is 2. We should have set it over under for that in the 2026 season. Yesterday was a pretty badass day. So we started off. If you haven't had a chance, listen, I know that Todd Castledine isn't a controversial figure, but there's people that are diehard Todd Castledine fans, and then there's people that are like, man, the guy just is too opinionated. Go listen to the BTL that Todd Castledine did yesterday. I think it was one of the best BTL shows that I've ever done, especially since taking it over from Mark Jeffries. Really learned a lot about Todd. He actually opened up and you got inside of his mind and how it worked, kind of how he's formed some of his opinions, why he's not afraid to march against the beat that everyone else is marching to. So it was really cool to talk to Todd for 2 hours. And then I went and jumped in the boat with, still weird to say it, with Elite Series rookie Austin Cranford. And Austin was like, dude, have you ever snagged the spoonbill? And I was like, no, but you see guys all over Oklahoma doing it. You know, we have to worry about while you're running your boat. There's always stories of guys who get taken out by these 50, 60 pound spoonbill that are jumping on Grand or Fort Gibson or Keystone or some of those lakes. And then, obviously over the last 4 or 5 years with the rise in live scope, there's a thriving guide business of guys. You go out, you snag them. You have to use barbless hooks. There's all sorts of regulations. You could get a paddlefish tag. We just catch and release them, but I'd never done it before. Neither had he. They call it a 70 pound spoonbill and a 40 pound spoonbill. I'm jealous of the saltwater guys. I'm really jealous of the saltwater guys because they can go out and hook stuff that they can't reel in. And it's so rare in freshwater. Well, I guess today's guest probably, we're in his neck of the woods, Lanier, that kind of North Georgia, the Carolinas. I would imagine there's some striper. Let's bring in our guest for today, Clint Bartlett. How are you doing, Clint?
Doing good. How are you, Matt?
I'm fantastic. You hook those stripers out there in the Carolinas and North Georgia and stuff where you just can't reel them in. You're hanging on for a ride, right?
Yeah, you can hook striper, catfish. I caught a 28-pound catfish on 8-pound test out there. I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff that will wrench you on some bass gear. And even striper fishing is huge on Lake Lanier too. We got a ton of striper guides, but I mean, they get 20 to 30 pounds is a big one out there. But then you slide up the road a couple hours to East Tennessee, that's when you get 40, 50, 60 pounders up there. So, I mean, there's a lot of access to something that's going to break your arm, reeling them in up there for sure.
So I primarily crappie. Also, we dropped Crappie Talk Live episode 3 with Zeke River Crappie last night. If you guys want to check that out, if you're a bass fisherman that wants to learn how to catch some of these giant crappie and your water's not frozen right now, highly recommend that. But when you're fishing for crappie and bass, you rarely hook into something. I'd say 3 or 4 times a year do you hook into something that it has control over you. And the saltwater guys, that happens all the time. The guys who are around, if you target the big fish, but there's something cool about being at that fish's mercy instead of that fish being at your mercy, where you're literally in a tournament setting are trying to prevent the fish from fighting. You don't enjoy the hard fights because that gives more opportunity for the fish to get off. But when you're out there just having fun, there's something about, they say the tug is a drug, but there is something about hooking something that you have no idea how you're going to get that fish to the boat.
Yeah, for sure. And it depends on like what's on the line, right? Like, so for us tournament guys, we're trying to get that fish in the boat as fast as possible, like eliminate the room for error. But in the salt, sometimes you have to like reel them up as fast as possible to get them from being eaten or taking you down in the rocks or something like that. Like I filmed a ton of saltwater fishing in my career as well. And like watching these guys get broken off or eaten up by a shark. Like sharks are terrible in Florida right now. Like there's all kinds of opportunity for things to go wrong in the salt as well. Like I remember I burned my thumb off because I didn't know that you can't put your thumb on the braid when they go rip and drag, and I burned my entire thumb off one time.
I did that with Jeff Crete the only time I went out with him. I tried to stop, and he's like, "Oh, you're not going to stop that." He's like, "We're never going to land that." And I mean, like, it just scorched it.
Oh, yeah. And it's crazy how you can just you can get hurt in saltwater fishing, like grabbing the braid or anything. Like you can lose a finger pretty quick. And then like watching out for wahoo, I was filming a long range fishing trip out in San Diego, and those guys, like you had to make sure you were wearing boots and watch out for the wahoo, because as soon as that wahoo comes over, their teeth are like razor blades. I watched plenty of guys not paying attention get their legs cut open and all kinds of stuff just by a flopping wahoo on the deck. So
yeah, for those who don't know, in case, so this is a spoonbill, and like it's hard to like vocalize, like, and we're back. It's hard to vocalize, like it looks bigger in person than it does in that picture, which is hard to believe. Like sure. It's like the body size. Like I'm not a hunter, but my buddy Juice has a plot like 20 minutes. So anytime he calls me during the late fall, I know it's because he killed a deer and he needs help dragging it out. So like you get there and he's got the thing gutted. Like that fish is the size of like a big buck, like just the torso. Yeah. Like if you were to put legs and a head on it, it would be like 100. And that was like a big fish, but not a big fish, which is unbelievable. And the only way you catch them, they don't eat. They're filter feeders. They eat zooplankton. So, I mean, I'm not trying to hide it. Like regulations, no barbs on the hook. Use a 4-ounce weight below it. Like basically a mega drop shot, and you straight up snag them. Like that fish was hooked in the side. Like you are straight up, like these fish were 35, 40 feet down, and we snagged 5 or 6 in 4 hours of fishing. But I mean, like someone on the Instagram was like, what were they biting on, Matt? And I said, 12-aught treble hook, 4-ounce bell sinker.
Yeah. It's like wacky rigging a golden retriever and trying to reel it in, I feel like.
Come on now, golden, you can't. You can't say stuff like that with the golden retriever. Those are like the sunshine dogs.
When you were talking about what it's like
dogs on earth.
You're talking about holding it, and I was just thinking of holding a golden retriever out.
Yeah, no, that's exactly like, like you see this stuff online of them like being like, well, my dog refused to walk across the puddle, so I had to hold him, and they're carrying this 100-pound dog. That's what it's like.
Yeah,
so
that's what it's like.
It's an experience in fishing, I think. At least as I get older. Clint, how old are you, Clint?
I'm 27.
Okay, so you're 10 years away from this. But as you get older, you will appreciate experiences more than results. So I find myself chasing non-bass fishing experiences and enjoying the memories and going and doing something where I don't know what the outcome is.
For sure.
Like I pretty much know that like a Bassmaster Open is going to be an outcome between like 46th and 120th. And I know that like fun fishing and all, like, but you start getting, you do the trout, or you do, like I'm getting into the crappie or these paddlefish or something. They're like cool experiences that are all with like close to the house. You're in an area where you can do a ton of that stuff. You have tons of different fishing experiences and stuff out where you are.
Yeah, I live in a really cool place. So I'm in Woodstock, Georgia. So I'm about an hour west of Lake Lanier.
Clint just got a text, which is why he went away. I'll see him when he comes back. I'll have to kick him out of the studio. For now. But yeah, while we're waiting on Clint to get back, I will say that we are just several days away from the first stage of the BPT, which is actually going to be the first major bass fishing tournament of the year on Lake Gunnersville. You're back. Okay, we're going to get into that then. You back?
Yes, I am.
Text,
Sorry.
Text or
Shout
call?
out to Ian Freeman calling me, and somehow it still punched through the do not disturb in airplane mode. So sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Yeah, no, talk about that North Georgia area. I was just going to get into the tournament scene then, but talk about that North Georgia area, and then we'll get into, you're kind of like the linchpin. You're like in the middle of a week of bass anglers / influencers, because we had Rackley, we had Castledine, we have you. Then next week we have Brian Latimer on Monday and Ben Milliken on Tuesday. So I wanted to get you on the show to kind of tie it all together, because you kind of understand how all of these pieces between tournaments and social media and influencers and sponsors and the way we consume professional bass fishing in 2026. That's why I wanted to get you on here also. But yeah, North Georgia, pretty badass part of the country to catch whatever you want.
Oh yeah, you have so much access. Like you can slide up to Western North Carolina. You can go catch smallmouth and trout and walleye and all kinds of stuff. Super deep Highland reservoirs, clear water. I went to Western Carolina University, so like that was where I really cut my teeth fishing, college fishing, all that fun stuff up in the mountains. Just fell in love with it up there. I'm from outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, so Lake Norman, Lake Tillery, Baden Lake. That type of area. And then once I moved up to the Clearwater, I really fell in love with like herring fishing, chasing those spotted bass all over the place, like Chattooga and Burton and all those good lakes in the Western North Carolina. And then I didn't discover Lanier till a little bit later in life, and then moved down here 2 years ago. And then I realized what a real trophy spotted bass place like Lanier is. Like when you can go out there and your average bass or spotted bass is 3 pounds, like it's crazy. And I say that like 3 pounds is a big spotted bass in a lot of places in the country. But like when you have guys scoffing at 3 and 4 pounders on Lanier all the time, like, that ain't going to help. That ain't going to help. Or that's a little one or whatever. And like, it's crazy, truly, like the magnitude of how awesome the spotted bass fishing is there. Like they're super pressured. They definitely are very smart, but when you can hit them right and really figure out the bite, it's so much fun. So I live in a great area, access to a lot of great fishing. I can be in a lot of places. Chickamauga's an hour and a half away. Gunnersville's 3 hours away. Like there's a lot of access to a lot of great places to fish and a lot of cool anglers too. A lot of anglers live in this region, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina. There's a lot of anglers around here for a reason. There's just a lot of different access to fishing. I could go flip grass on Chickamauga, or I can go scope out an 80 foot of water on Lanier, or I can go up shallow and go cranking for spotted bass on Chattooga. Like there's so many different places to go. And I think that's one thing that's like really important is like, I don't want to just be a clear water herring offshore scoper. So like, I need to branch out and go to Chickamauga more. Like that's one of my goals for this year is just like going to grass fishing, because dude, I feel so uncomfortable when it comes to grass fishing, because it's something we didn't do. So, but yeah,
Lanier spotted bass are the equivalent of Keystone spoonbill. Like I think they've set the world record out of Keystone, which is where we caught these like 3 times in the last 5 years. Like we're talking like 145 pounders. Like it's the biggest. It's on the Arkansas River. Insane. It's the biggest. Tell me a little bit about your story. Tell the listeners a little bit about. I actually don't know how you got in this game. I have a soft spot for the guys who fish and are also in the industry, because I started that straight out of college at OU, then interned with Mark Jeffries for the Bass Zone. There was no independent coverage of the Elite Series at the time. Went to every single Elite Series tournament from 2008 through 2018. So for those 11 years, and then all the PAAs and the FLW tour events, created all sorts of content on that, was fishing on the side of that. But towards the end there, when I was, 30 years old and doing this stuff, there was like an influx. That was like, I stopped going to every single Elite Series about the time when all the anglers realized, hey, we need Facebook, we need shorts, we need content. Everyone was starting to get an Instagram account. Twitter had blown up there. And like, there were 3 or 4 guys in their early 20s that were like, following. They had typically they had a house of guys, and they were doing all their social media and posting for them every day and working. And that was very kind of the beginning. So kind of taught me a little bit through your origin story. Obviously the college fishing with WCU and that, but how did you end up in the industry?
Yeah. So I've always loved fishing. My dad grew up fishing my entire life. Just bass fishing on Lake Norman and striper fishing, all kinds of fun stuff. So I was my dad was changing my diapers and catching school and fish on Lake Norman. So it was one of those things, it's been in my life forever, as long as I can remember. And it's always been a passion of mine. So I lost my dad when I was 10 years old. And so I kind of stopped fishing from 10 till about 16, 17. I kind of had this period where my life kind of changed, and I was just kind of in school, navigating life, trying to figure it out. And then I was some of my friends started pond fishing, and so I started fishing again. But all my lake experience was 0 to 10, and then I kind of lost all that fishing on a boat, and so I became a bank fisherman and was just pond hopping and stuff in high school. And then I went to college, and I saw a bass boat at this club fair. I saw this bass boat out, and I was like, what is that? I haven't seen a new bass boat at this point in a long time. It hadn't really been around the fishing industry much at this point. And I see this bass boat, and I go up and talk to the guys, and it's the Western Carolina fishing team. And they're like, yeah, we fish tournaments. I had no idea what a tournament was. So that's one thing that I regret now, is I wish I knew about tournament fishing and stayed in it as a young angler, because I could have accelerated my growth so much. But everybody has a different story, and it writes itself. So I was so green, didn't know what tournament fishing was. And I was like, you guys get paid to fish? I'm like, this is cool. Well, blah, blah, blah. I'm an 18-year-old. I don't know what a tournament is, how it works. Go fish my first tournament, learn what a drop shot is, just getting my teeth kicked in and just throwing dumb stuff on big spinning rods. They called me Can't Bait Cast Bartlett because I never threw a bait caster. And it was rough. So I was like, I need to figure this game out a little bit. And I was like, dude, I got to get off the bank to start figuring this stuff out. So my mom was like, well, one of our friends has this fishing kayak. If you want this thing, we can work on getting this fishing kayak for a good deal. And so I got a new canoe, Frontier 12. It was an older new canoe, 12-foot kayak, slapped a little 50-pound thrust Minn coat on the back, and that was my boat, man. I would sit on a cooler. That was my live well, and then I would put little bubblers in my little live well, and I would fish local tournaments, against your standard club tournaments, local tournaments. I'd be in a kayak, and they would all be in their nice Phoenixes and Skeeters and all that fun stuff.
And you had a functioning live well, so it was legal.
So it was legal. So it worked out. And I can't tell you how many 8-pound limits I weighed in out of that thing. It was,
were you fishing Norman?
No. So this was all college. So this was Western Carolina. So this was Chattooga, Fontana, Glenville, a bunch of those Clearwater.
Well, an 8-pound limit is an 8-pound limit of spots is like a 12-pound limit of largemouth in Oklahoma.
Yeah, for sure. So it was I was just catching a limit was huge for me for a couple of years. It was I really feel I started 0 to 60. It took a long time. I felt like everything I've done in life, I feel like it's taken such a hard road to get there. And I respect that looking back now, because it's dude, why did it take me so long? I look at these kids that are 16, 17, 18 years old in high school fishing now that are just crushing it, and they're running a boat, and they're running a brand new boat and just killing it. They're catching them. They're doing really good. They're more successful than I am in the local tournament scene. And I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Good for you. Because back then I didn't know what a drop shot was. I was throwing a rooster tail on a spinning rod, and that's about all I had to me. So,
and what was your major in college, by the way?
So that changed a lot. I went in for nutrition, did that for a year, realized that I had to maintain a 3.75 GPA as a freshman in college, discovered having fun in college and being a very social guy, and did not maintain that 3.75 GPA. So I had to switch majors, went to natural resource management, because I was like, I like to fish. Let's see if I would be a game warden one day. That lasted a semester. And I was like, okay, my entire family all own businesses. I was like, let's switch to a business major, switch to entrepreneurship and social media marketing, and then finished out my degree with that entrepreneurship and social media marketing.
That was a question. Okay, so back to how you ended up in the industry. Sorry, I was just curious.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah. Trying not to make the story too long-winded, but basically, I started filming these fishing tournaments. I had a GoPro, and I started filming like trout fishing my freshman year of college, and I had nowhere to put them. I didn't have a hard drive. I was just like, where am I going to put these videos? So I started uploading stuff to YouTube, just to have like a place to put them and like put these memories, and like started learning how to edit these videos. And I was like, okay, like let me figure out like, and maybe there's something to this. I started getting a couple of views, and started posting on Instagram heavily, and then started to like really look up to these guys like Brandon Polinick and like John B at the time with the Guggen Squad, like before the Guggen Squad even started. And I was like, this is cool. Like they're making fishing look cool. Like I asked Brandon Polinick this in an interview. I was like, why did you do it in the beginning? He's like, I just want to make bass fishing look cool. And so like that was like a really big inspiration for me, was just like, I'm starting to make fishing look cool. Like I enjoy reliving these memories. Like I was a sophomore, junior in college, and reliving some of these memories. Yeah, that's me in the college dorm back in the day, like old school, just like making these old videos, pond fishing, all that kind of stuff. Like it was a time. But like I ended up like, it took me a long time. Like I made a bunch of these rough looking videos, and over a couple of years. And then I was like, you know what? Like I want these things to look better, not just be GoPro footage. That's the old new canoe right there. And I wanted to make them look better. So I was like, I need a camera. Like I need to step it up. Like these guys are vlogging with real cameras. How do I get a real camera? And so I talked to my mom, and I was like, hey, if you can help me out with $500, I don't need a birthday gift or a Christmas gift for the next 2 years. I was like, I just want to get this camera. And I was like, I'll pay half of it. And then I'm saying this knowing that like, I don't have a job right now. How am I going to pay her back this other half? And she's like, okay. She's like, pay me in the next like month or two. And like, we'll figure it out after Christmas. And I was like, okay. So I get this camera, and I'm like, all right, I got to figure out how to make some money. So I hit up every realtor I could find on Facebook, and was like, okay, I need to I will come film your house for free. Like if I'll come film your house, do like all the whole real estate walkthrough, take some photos. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what shutter speed or ISO or any of that stuff is at this point. And I'm just watching YouTube videos on like how to do this stuff. And I eventually find a realtor, and I was like, hey, I'm going to come do all this for free. And so I go over there and I shoot the house, and she's like, these are great. And I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah. She's like, can you do these 3 houses? And she's like, I can't let you do this for free. Like, I got to pay you something. She's like, what can I pay you? And I was like, I'll do all 3 for $500. And she's like, really? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, here's $500. She wrote me a check for $500 right there, handed it to me. I cashed it, sent it to my mom. Yep. First time I ever got paid. And that's when it clicked. I was like, I can make some money with this camera. And then like all the opportunity like blows up in your mind. You're like, okay, well, I got to make it better. How do I make this better and this better? I got to learn this. Maybe I need this microphone, or I need this gimbal to make my shots more stabilized. And then I was like, no, I need to go to the air. I need drone footage. Like this is when drones, like it first switched from the big white Phantom to the first Mavic Pro just came out. The DJI Mavic Pro, the first one that folds up. And I was like, oh, I need that. Like, I need that in my life. And so I went out and I got that drone. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, I got to do it the right way. And I got my commercial drone pilot's license.
I heard that's a pain in the ass.
Oh, it's the hardest test I've ever taken.
Basically like I'm taking a pilot's license.
100%.
With no training on how to be a pilot.
So I took off my entire spring break of my sophomore year to study for my drone certification. Spent 12-hour days studying for it, took it at the end of the week, and you have to go in person. There's like 36 cameras all looking at you, and I drove to the airport to take this test, and I'm like nervous. I get through the questions. I'm like, okay, I think I did good. I think I knocked it out. And the guy, I go to the room, and the guy's like, he's like, I got some unique news for you. And I was like, what does unique news mean? And he's like, you got the highest score that I've seen in the past 2 years on this exam. And it was an 82 out of 100. I was like,
oh, wow.
dang. I was like, that. I was like, cool. Like, that's good. You needed a 70 to pass. And so I think I only missed like 3 or 4 questions. So it was like, I was stoked about that. So I got my drone pilot's license. So basically, technically, per the FAA, if you film anything and make money off of it with a drone, you need this certification. So if I go film real estate and I get paid for it, you need this certification. If I go shoot Brandon Polinick on the Elite Series for one tournament and I pop up the drone at all in that video, you need this certification, technically. Now, a lot of guys don't do it. A lot of guys don't have their license. I think still to this day, I think there's only 3 camera guys that I know of that have this certification that film in our industry. So it's definitely by the book. A lot of guys could get
apparently
popped.
It's like following rules in tournaments in 2025 and 2026.
Yeah. Apparently. So got the drone certification, started doing a bunch of drone stuff, and then flash forward to senior year. I'm filming weddings, real estate, all kinds of stuff through college, just doing this on the side, watching YouTube videos, how to get better.
Just word of mouth. Like you did some real estate. They said, oh, we know someone. You get a call from an unknown number. Hey, I heard you do some shooting. I do this.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then I talked to, it comes to the time I need an internship for college for my last semester. In order to graduate, I have to do an internship. So I'm trying to think of like, I'm in the real estate game a little bit, and I'm like, should I do something through real estate, or how do I do this internship? I'm like, I would really like it to be in fishing. Like, I think fishing would be cool. And I was in the local tackle shop, Dreamcatchers Fish and Supply at the time with Austin Neary. And I was like, hey, do you know anybody in the fishing industry that would need filming? And he's like, dude, my boy Paul Bork is the man. Like he has this media production company out of Franklin. Like he films fishing TV shows and all this stuff. And I was like, cool, give me his, he's like, I'll give you his number. I was like, okay, I'll reach out. And keep in mind, this is October. I graduate the following spring, and this is October. I need this locked in. What year? Of 2019.
Okay.
So this is October of 2019. I need this locked in by December 25th, Christmas Day. I have to have the internship locked in.
Because you have to get credit hours for it and go through the university and yada, yada, yada. Because I did the same thing with Mark and Bass Zone, because he was like very clear. This is an unpaid internship. You're getting college credit for this. I'm teaching you the ways. I'm not giving you crap.
Exactly. And so I'm like, okay, so I send this long text to Paul and don't get anything back. And it's like beginning of October. So I'm starting to explore some other options, like looking around, and then November comes around, nothing. I'm shooting like a follow-up text probably once a week, and nothing. Get his email, add him on Facebook. He eventually adds me back, message him on Facebook, nothing. And I'm like, all right, like whatever. And he's just like MIA. And then it comes, it's like the week before Christmas, like we just like on Christmas break, all this stuff. I'm like, what do I do? Like I had this one golf course that didn't call me back, and I'm like trying to figure this out. And I'm like, I don't know what to do, like starting to get stressed. And I was like, but like, I don't really get super stressed. I'm like, it's going to work itself out. I'm always the guy that's like, it's going to be all right at the end of the day. And all of us, it's like December 23rd, I get a text, and he's like, call me. And I'm like, oh God. Like, all right. So I call him immediately. We talked for like an hour. He's like, yo, I seen your stuff. He's like, you start Monday. He's like, send me whatever paperwork you need. I'll sign it. And we're good to go. And I was like, sweet. Like I was so fired up. And so immediately so I get it all turned in, luckily in time. And I start, the first thing we shot was with Frank Crescatelli from Fin Chasers TV show. He comes down to Western North Carolina, and it's like 18 degrees. I'm trying to learn how to use this giant camera. Paul just hands to me and says, there's the red button. Make sure it's in focus. Never used a big camera like this before. It's a Sony FS7. And so I've got this over my shoulder. He's like, just make sure it's like exposed well. And I'm still like, I'm shooting all this real estate stuff, but like exposures and shutter speeds and all this like super technical, like real, like what defines a content creator from a camera guy stuff. I'm still on the content creator side. Like I still don't know all the extra stuff at this point. And like it was very much a figure it out, and if you need help, ask questions. And so I think that approach really helped, having Paul as a mentor going into that. And then we ran with Black Rifle Coffee Company, doing some stuff with Black Rifle. They wanted to start a the fishing division of Black Rifle, and they kind of brought that to Paul. So that was like one of his contracts. And he's like, all right, you're going to run this with me. And so COVID hits in March, and I'm in Venice, Louisiana, filming a saltwater show. And I'm like, okay, like, and trying to figure out what's going on with COVID and all this stuff. Like, I'm supposed to graduate in 2 months. They cancel our graduation. We don't have graduation. Still got the paper though, luckily. So didn't get to walk.
I didn't go to my grad. I didn't walk either. I went fishing.
Yep. So it is what it is. But it's like should have had if I had the opportunity, I definitely would have. But whatever. It is what it is. I got the piece of paper. That's what counts, and I got the experience. And so started working with Paul. We started the Black Rifle stuff. I did not know any of this. This is the same Paul who runs Strike King now. Yes. So Paul is at Rather Outdoors now. So we built this entire marketing plan. Like, we're going to give away a boat and a truck with Black Rifle. We're going to take this boat and truck to every single Elite Series event, boots on the ground, go to these opens, set up a tent, and just serve free coffee. It's like, hey, here's free coffee. If you want, sign up for this giveaway. Well, we got almost 1 million signups for this giveaway in 3 months. And so, like, it was like, this is working. I mean, I had 10-gallon percolators set up in hotel rooms. I mean, Red Roof Inns, Holiday Inns, Comfort Inns, like not the nicer hotels that we're in these days. Like, we're in the Roach Tels, and like we have GFIs tripping from trying to brew coffee. So like, you're
being a barista and a content creator.
Yeah, I was a bassista, I guess, something like that. And then so I was just taking this boat and truck around, and I had these big 5-gallon canisters of coffee, and was just taking them around and serving coffee to all these Elite Series guys. And so it was the Elites, and then going to the Opens, and I'd just serve coffee, give them to the fans that weigh in, all that stuff. And then I'd go shoot photos, because we decided to sponsor a couple of the Black Rifle guys core at that point. So like Chris Zaldane, Kyle Welcher, Stetson Blaylock. I'm trying to think of who else we had at that point. Gerald Swindle, and then a couple other guys. And started working with them. So I'd go shoot photos of them on the water. I'd take the Black Rifle boat out and go shoot photos of them on the water, get some of that street cred experience as well. And then just really started dialing in, like, okay, like, I like this tournament culture. Like, these are some of the guys that I've been looking up to like throughout college. And like, I'm around these guys. Like, I'm still starstruck at this point. Like, this is crazy. I'm talking to these guys. These guys are cool. Like, so they were all so good to me. And I'm like, I'm just some kid handing out free coffee. Like, and I remember Taku, I ran into Taku at Champlain. This is like 2022. And I gave him 2 espresso cans, and he's like, and he takes a selfie with me, and he posted on Instagram. He's like, Taku love Black Rifle. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so funny. And then like a year later, I'm filming stuff for Trent from Sonar Pros, and Taku's getting his boat rigged. And Taku walks in and he goes, Clint from Black Rifle. I was like, how do you remember me? Like, this is awesome. And Taku remembered me, and we were talking, but like so explored the Black Rifle stuff for a couple of years. Ultimately, that kind of fizzled out.
The giveaway boat and truck?
Yep. That's the boat and truck. So we gave that away, did a big giveaway with that, did another one the following year, and business was booming for Black Rifle. And then they decided to go public, and everything really changed. Like, kind of changed hands. Everybody kind of saw the writing on the wall, and we kind of got out of there. Unfortunately, everything kind of changed. So then I'm kind of back out on the road, and I'm like, okay, I guess I got to freelance now. So I started my company, Bartlett Outdoors, and started freelancing. I was doing everything from saltwater shows to I was filming a little bit of real estate, did a few weddings, and then I was bouncing around, and that's when I moved to Texas. Did some stuff out in Texas, and then lived in Utah. I was all over the place, just grinding, trying to make a dollar, just trying to figure out how to chase checks and get paid. My hardest part of my career was always like getting paid at the end of the day, which isn't what you want from a job. Like, that should be the easiest thing, is actually getting paid. But I was just trying to chase checks by like following up on these invoices, like, hey, like, I'm delivering this stuff, but like, when you shoot something, you go shoot it, and it costs a bunch of money to shoot it. And then you're like, okay, well, now I got to edit it. So like, if I shoot something in January, but the final product's not delivered till March, you're sitting there on backlog of like, I've had all these expenses from January to March, and then now I'm faced with like, how do I actually get paid? Like I sent you an invoice, like, are you going to pay it? And you got guys that don't pay. Ended up with one contract that was giant that put me in trouble for a while. And then it's just crazy. Like you have to have a contract. Like any videographer out there, do a contract, because I was too nice back then. And I was on just like handshake deals back then. Don't do it. Have a contract. That's what I tell everybody that I've mentored in this game. Like, have a contract. That's one of the biggest things that I missed and learned the hard way, for sure. But yeah, so
but
that's,
you got to the point where then you had developed throughout there with Black Rifle and all, you developed relationships with the anglers in it to where, you know, this is what, 4 years ago when it was starting, to where then you were able to like, would your contracts be then with companies or with anglers?
So I was kind of doing a little bit of both, working with a couple different companies when I was freelancing, and then a bunch were with some anglers. So I was filming for some opens guys. I filmed with Joe LaBarbera for a while, doing some of his content, and that's how we met a couple years ago. And then filming with Alpha Angler, which is a rod company up in the Pacific Northwest, and bouncing around with just kind of doing a little bit of everything.
That's the one that Polinick started, or was part of the founding group?
So Polinick's still a part of it. He's still the one that helps design all the ones with Jake Boomer. Awesome rods. I've converted to using all of them. I'm not sponsored by them. I just run the social media, and they're awesome rods. Good people over there. Small company, USA made, everything. So it's pretty awesome. Their new minnow shaking rod's got a glass tip. Really sweet
glass tip.
Yeah, it's and for $500 glass tip, like
which is cheap.
Yes, very very cheap.
Cheap's the wrong
compared to
inexpensive.
Koya's $1,400 rod. Yeah,
compared to some. I'm a currently, as we speak right now, a free agent in the rod and reel market. I was with Denali for the last 6-7 years. Nothing bad to say about them. Fantastic products. Really enjoyed using them. They went a different direction with their marketing strategy for 2026. So I'm trying out a number of different rods and reels. So
nice. Well, if you ever want to try an alpha rod, you know where to find one.
Tip alpha rod, perhaps.
Yeah, they're sweet.
So recently,
so you did that.
But I see you've got the Yamaha shirt on now.
Yeah. I guess I need to finish the story. I've been talking for 30 minutes.
No. You're good.
We get to 2023. I'm bouncing around, and I was like, just moved back from Utah in May of 2023, and I'm like, okay, like what do I do now? Like some of my contracts are all over the place, and then I'm like, go on a fishing trip with my buddy Ian on Lake Lanier, and this was like out of the way. Like Lanier was like a foreign place that I've fished like once or twice. And so we go down there and we're fishing, and then there's a restaurant on the lake called Pigtails. And so we're like, hey, let's go grab a bite to eat or whatever. It's like a Friday night, 5:00, where we drive up on the boat and then go in there. And then one of my buddies from Cast Fishing. So I was doing a lot of work with Cast at the time, still am. And one of my buddies, Eddie Krauth, walked in, introduced me to a guy named Clint Cooper, who does real estate. And so he's doing real estate in Buford, and he walks in, he's like, hey, I just posted something for a videographer today. Actually, he's like, are you interested in any work? And I was like, actually, like, I literally just like that's what I needed. I needed something. And I was like, well, what do you want? And he was like, well, I need you full time. And I was like, I'm at the point where I need that. Like I could make this happen. And I really don't have a locked in place. I was living with my family for a couple months in North Carolina. And I was like, I don't have a locked in place or really know where I'm going right now. Like still trying to figure it out. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, how about, he's like, let's find you a house and have you down here in 2 weeks. You start in 2 weeks. And I was like, yeah, I'll figure it out. So I pick up everything, move to Gainesville, Georgia, lock into a 12-month lease. And I'm like, all right, now I'm living in Georgia and I'm shooting real estate. So I go down and shoot real estate with him through the end of the year. And then he's like, he basically wanted to post all this content. He's seen all these guys in the real estate industry blow up and influencers getting huge. And he wanted to do the same thing. He basically wanted to go from 0 to 100 and be an influencer within a year. And, it just, we did the content. We tried to copy the mold of what everybody else was doing. And it ultimately just really didn't work out. And, so he was like, man, like we tried, but like, this is all I got. So now I'm in Gainesville, locked in for a year. I've only been there for 6 months, and I'm like, okay, now what I do? So like, all right, back against the wall again. And so then I was like, you know what? Like I've never given my business a full 100%. Like I've always like bounced from one contract to another contract, not like trying to do the full blown, like the only way to make, or a good way to make a lot of money is to have a bunch of contracts that you satisfy and have them on retainer and all that. And I was like, I've never done this before. Let's do it the right way and like really just grind it out. So I get all these contracts, I get it all lined up. It all sounds perfect and pretty. And I'm like, all right, let's rock and roll. Well, from January to March, I spend probably the most miserable time of my life. 3 a.m. wake up calls to edit and do everything. I was working from 3 a.m. to about 12 p.m. every single day, and just trying to manage all these contracts by myself because I didn't have enough money to pay an editor or do anything like that. So I'm trying to keep up with all these contracts, traveling all over, filming guys on the opens, just bouncing over, filming some real estate here and there, like filming some other stuff. And it was just like, I was spread way too thin, took on way too much. And so it comes to the Bassmaster Classic, and I'm filming for Joey Cifuentes. He reached out and was like, hey, Shane told me you're good. Like, can you film the Classic for me? And I was like, hell yeah, I'm down. He's like, I just need you to shoot it. Don't need you to edit. And I'm like, yes. In the industry, we call it a pump and dump, where you just go film it. Somebody else edits it. It's the best deal in the world because you just go shoot it the way you want it, tell the story, and then you're good. And so go to shoot the Classic for him, and it's day 2 of the Classic. It's cold. I'm on a camera boat. I'm freezing, and I'm just sitting there like holding the camera, trying to stay warm. And Shane Durant's calls me he's a Bassmaster photographer. He's awesome. Yeah. And so he was local to me, and we fished together. I knew him from the Black Rifle days. Being on the elites and giving him plenty of Black Rifle coffee back in the day that he didn't need because he's fired up enough. But he calls me and he's like, hey, I'm talking to this guy at Yamaha, and he says they need a social media guy, and I think you're perfect for this job. He's like, can you send in a resume like today? They need to make a decision today. And I'm like, it's Friday, Bassmaster Classic. Like, what? Like, you want me to send in a resume right now? I'm like, okay, like I'll make it happen. Like Yamaha, like I've used it, or like my grandpa had a Yamaha, my dad ran a Yamaha.
Had like, one on the back of your kayak.
Yeah, exactly. Like I wish I did. I did not back then, but and I was like, I like this. Like this feels right. It was something that felt right. I was like, this is cool. So I'm at like one of the lowest points of my life at this point. Like just run down. I'm getting fat. I'm just like not happy, not sleeping, and not working out, not anything. And I'm like, okay, there's something to this. So I'm like freezing cold. So every time we would run somewhere else to chase him, I'd start working on my resume on Canva on my phone. And so by the end of the tournament day and the long hour car ride back to weigh in, I finished my resume, sent it in, and I get a call from Matt Azell at Yamaha, and he's like, hey, we got this for you. You just got to come in for an interview next week. And long story short, go interview the following week, and they're like, hey, you can start April, like middle of April, beginning of May, or end of May. Which one do you want? And I was like, end of May. I was like, let me get some time to finish up these contracts, finish up what I was doing, film these last couple of trips to get some money, and then I got to figure out moving because I'm living in Gainesville, which is 65 miles from where I need to be in Kennesaw. And I was like, okay, like I'll figure this out. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to start, but I finish up the contracts and then ultimately start at Yamaha for running the social media of Yamaha outboards. And over here in the Kennesaw office, I was started, and then I was still living in Gainesville. So I was making like a 2-hour commute each day with traffic. So it was like 2 hours there, 2 hours back. So for the first 6 weeks, and then finally found a house that could fit a boat and got a rental house over here. Now I'm at Yamaha. So now I've been at Yamaha for almost 2 years, running the social media, doing some
already?
stuff.
Holy cow!
Yep. So I'm coming up on 2 years now in May, I guess. So I guess year and a half, you could say. But we've been working on. So I go to boat shows, I go to Elite Series events and different things, doing tournament coverage. So I still get to be around all my friends. I like to say, like all the Elite Series guys that I've met throughout the years. I get to go be around them. We have roughly, I think it's like 46 pros right now on the Elites. And I feel like I'm really good friends with most of them. So that helps the job, makes the job a lot more fun when I get to go to those events. And then being able to just work for a company like Yamaha. They're a really good company. They take care of their people, and it's a great product. And like you pay the premium for the product, and just good people all around. And everybody that comes, they enjoy staying with Yamaha because they get taken care of. So
I mean, like,
awesome.
what, you got a 401k, you got health, you got dental,
first real corporate job. Like I'm wearing a polo right now.
I know.
Like I was sun shirts and shorty shorts all the time. So it was a big adjustment going corporate, and it was just kind of one of those resets that I needed at that point in my life. Was like, let me get on my feet a little bit and stop trying to chase these checks and contracts all the time, and still be able to do what I want to do creatively. And now, like, that was a big adjustment. Is like I was running a camera every single day, flying a drone all the time. We got really good at flying the drone and doing some crazy drone stuff, and then go corporate. And it's like, okay, now I only pick up a camera when I go to events. So all the other times, so like last year, I probably only picked up my camera 10 times, whereas the year before it was almost every single day.
With it, So are you like a corporate? Are you like 9 to 5? You have to check in there, or do you still have some like freedom? So like now, like to do this podcast, did you have to be like, hey guys, like,
I was like, hey guys, I got to do PTO. And I've got till 11. I rented out this meeting room. I brought my podcast mic. So
wait, seriously? So like you're legit corporate, Clint.
Oh yeah.
So you have 39 more. You have 30. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like, that would scare me to walk into there. I mean, I've never had a corporate job, never had an office.
Dude, I felt like I was going to burn when I walked in this place. But like it's still an adjustment. Like I'm almost 2 years in, and it's still like, I'm sitting there. I feel like I'm in a cage sometimes. You're just like, I need to go out and film something. So that's the good thing about still having my LLC, is I still get to go do some fun stuff and go shoot some side work. Like I went to Idaho, but what's crazy is taking PTO to go work. So in October I took PTO to go film for Alpha Angler and do a content shoot for 3 days, but it really didn't feel like work when you're watching Brandon Polinick catch 75 fish on a glide bait in 4 hours. Like that was pretty awesome. So it's like that.
So you have 38 minutes left.
Yes.
Okay. But, so we're gonna pay bills here for a minute and a half, and when we come back, now that we kind of know the backstory, talking with Clint Bartlett, Yamaha corporate. And when we come back, I want to get your take. You've been in this game. You understand how it is. I want to get your take on how we are going to consume professional bass fishing in the next 3 years. Social media, live streaming, the different organizations, like just what you've witnessed over the past number of years. You have a unique perspective. We're talking with Clint Bartlett, BTL, on a Wednesday, first week of the year, January 7th, 2026. We'll be back right after this.
When I'm in a tournament, conditions are constantly changing and every second matters. With the Deep Dive app, I can instantly pull up all the current lake conditions all in one spot. So no more looking at weird government websites. In just one quick glance, I have water clarity, water level, wave forecast. It's all right there in the Deep Dive app. Download the Deep Dive app and get all the tools you need to put together an awesome tournament.
Before there were hashtags, there were handshakes and shared stories. They gave us confidence to make our first cast, to chase our dreams. They taught us to fish, and in the process, taught us about life. They taught us that success isn't just about reaching the top. It's about lifting others up. The future isn't just about selling tackle. It's about 3 simple words. Let's go fishing. Here's to the original influencers.
Pro Bass Adventures is reinventing Mexico bass fishing. With boats equipped with 12-inch Garmin units and LiveScope Plus, free loaner fishing rods, and no-cost airport transportation, Pro Bass Adventures is proudly putting you in the best position for success. Pro Bass Adventures has lodges on Lake Baccarat and Lake El Salto, Mexico's two best trophy largemouth bass lakes. Visit probassadventures.com or email probassadventures@gmail.com. The official Mexico fishing lodge of Bass Talk Live.
I fish in some of the worst elements across the country. Spring.
That's a giant, dude.
Summer.
Oh my gosh. Hi. Look at that thing.
Winter.
It's so cold.
And fall.
Got it. Big one. That's awesome. Being comfortable and staying dry is the only option.
AFCO. Any fish, any water.
Welcome back. Detail on a Wednesday chat with Clint Bartlett. So we've got kind of the story here. So currently in the industry, I know you do your podcast yourself, the show. It's called Is it like Fish North Georgia, or is it called the Live Well, or is it Fishing North Georgia, the Live Well, or the Live Well that deals with fishing in North Georgia?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. So we went through a little bit of a name change the past few months, kind of a change in hands with business, but it's the Live Well podcast now. It was previously FNGO, Fish North Georgia, for the past 8 years now. So been running the show with those guys. We do Danny does a show Tuesday through Thursday for lunch break. So we have the lunch break, and then we have the Live Well, which is Tuesday and Thursday nights as well. So a ton of shows for you guys that are local to Georgia, Tennessee. We have anglers from all over. We've had pros on, plenty to just talk fishing. So it's a smaller podcast, but those of you guys looking for something different in 2026, Fish North Georgia, Danny Pruitt and the guys are a lot of fun. So we always cut up and have a good time.
And you can find that on your MP3 podcast platforms. Just look up the Live Well or Fish North Georgia.
The Live Well.
And then also on YouTube as well. And then you also do a ton of stuff. Okay, so explain to me how Cast fits into is it an Australian company or overseas? Or I know you do a ton of stuff with Cast. They've got that Echo Minnow. I know you're involved with that, but I don't understand. Like, it's not connecting like how that has worked into because they've done a really good job, and I think you're a big part of that, of positioning in the bass fishing market. But they're not like a bass fishing company per se, are they?
So it's
am I completely off base on that, or is that
you
legit?
Are completely right. So it started in Australia on the Great Barrier Reef, making GT lures, these giant 120 gram poppers for GT.
So we're talking Cavi and all those dudes that are out there catching barras and on islands, and the surf rods were like, oh man, I'm gonna get reefed, that type of stuff.
Gonna get reefed, mate. Yeah. Oh, it's a big one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we got some.
So that's where it started.
Guys. Yeah, so it started out there. They started as a magazine. They were putting out a magazine with really cool fishing stories and cool photography back in the day. And then they eventually started making these lures. And then so back in, I want to say 2020-ish, they come to Florida. Mick Guthrie, the owner of Cast over there, comes to Florida, comes to iCast, and ends up fishing with Ryan Hanks, who is the American owner of Cast Fishing to this day now. And so they meet, and then they want to start expanding Cast to America, saltwater fishing. Well, Ryan is planning a trip to go. He's from the Lake Lanier area, comes up, and then he goes out with Eddie Krauth out on Lake Lanier, and he's like, I want to dial in my tuna popping setup, but he just put new braid on, and which Cast has the best braid out there, bar none. But he puts some new braid on, spools it all up, gets his tuna set up, so a 60 gram topwater bait, like a big 7-inch balsa plug, and gets it all dialed in. And so they go out on Lake Lanier, he slings it up over a brush pile and catches a 5-pound spot. And he's like, okay, didn't expect that. They were like, maybe I'll catch a striper or something on this. They're like, didn't expect to catch a spot on this big 60 gram, just a black topwater, tuna popper. And so that's when the kind of the light bulb clicks, and they're like, okay, well, if we scale this down a little bit, this could be a bass bait. So they come out with a 40-gram OG, which the OG is the top water bait. So basically, what it does is it
That's
does
this
like an
thing
S
right here
dive.
that I'm circling, right?
Yep. So it does like an S dive down in the water. You pull it. You don't walk the dog with it. You pull it, and then kind of like you'd pull a fluke, like if you're herring fishing.
Okay.
And so basically you bomb it out there, it casts a mile, and then you just 3 reel twitches, and or you can pull it, you can sweep it, you can pop. There's so many different things. You can work it 10 different ways in 10 different casts. So it really started to blow up on the Lake Lanier area, and guys were catching giant bags. And so I buy one of these at Hammond's on the way to the Bassmaster Classic.
They're like
back in
$40, by the way.
Oh yeah, they're not cheap because they're handmade balsa. They have through wire construction because they're a saltwater bait. So the through wire, there's a wire that goes through.
Yeah, it
so
means you can't rip them in half.
Yeah. So if a tuna breaks it in half, you're still going to land the fish because your hook is still hooked to the wire in the eyelet of the bait. So that's the whole goal, is like being able to land the fish at the end of the day. In saltwater, they don't care as much. But then when you're like, okay, I'm going to go buy a $50 topwater bait, that's like it's the glide bait of topwaters ultimately. And so I buy one of these things because my buddy Kaz Anderson was like, dude, you gotta buy this thing. They ain't gonna make them anymore. And the good old
I started watching.
Yeah.
I never met him in my life. He had Jordan Lee on it.
Oh yeah.
I think on Lanier.
Mm-hmm.
Watching Jordan, or he had. So I'm watching it, and at the beginning, I had no idea what I was in for. And by the end of it, I texted Jordan, and I was like, I don't know who this Kaz guy is, but I like that sucker.
Yeah, Kaz
like,
is really good people. He's awesome.
Like, the more I watch him and stuff, like he's got some sayings, dude.
Oh, dude, he's got them all. I've known him since he was taking my money on YouTube when he was like 15
he seems like he's
old.
Pretty damn good too, Clint.
Oh yeah, he's really good. Like I feel like in the next few years, I think everybody's gonna know his name. Honestly, like he's definitely setting himself up for success. I convinced him to start a YouTube channel this time last year, and he's like, all right, dude, I'm going to do it. And he's already seen some success, and things are going really well. Love Kaz. He's awesome. But he basically told me, he's like, dude, you got to buy this thing. I don't know if this guy's going to make these baits anymore. And we're on the way to the Bassmaster Classic. We go drive way out of the way to go to Hammond's. And so I buy this cast bait, and this is before I lived in Georgia. And so I take a picture of it, and I post a story with it, and immediately I get a response from Cast, and it was so fast that I thought it was like an automated response.
Yeah,
and it was like,
thank
hey,
you
man,
for reaching out to Cast.
Yeah, it was like, hey man, thanks for sharing. Like, hope you go catch the biggest fish of your life on it, and go have fun. And then so I'm like, this is cool. Like this guy, like you could tell, like he actually replied. And at the time, this is Ryan Hanks texting us or texting me. And so I was like, hey, if you guys ever need any video work, let me know. Like, if you guys ever need any video work. He's like, actually, like, let's jump on a call. So I jump on a call with him and Mick in Australia. So I'm jumping on a random call with a guy from Australia and this dude from Florida. And
this
I'm
is
like,
just because you bought a bait and posted
because I bought a bait, and I offered, hey, if you ever need any film work. And he's like, hey, like, we've seen some of your stuff. Like, let's get together and film something on Lanier. Well, I go out and we build this relationship, start talking. In like 2 months, I end up going and filming, catching like 22 pounds on the OG and slick calm, like not prime conditions, really tough filming, but we still caught some giant mega spots. And so filmed that, and that was kind of the beginning of me starting to film for Cast. So I started doing one of these filming trips like once every few months. And we would build up a bunch of content, and then we'd have a ton of content to post. And then it developed into me and Ryan becoming really good friends. And it was like, hey man, like, let's work on some bait stuff together. And so I designed, so they have a diving popper called the Down Under from Australia. And I was like, and they had herring colors in this Down Under. And I was like, dude, you can throw this thing beside a dock, because what it does, it's a diving popper, 40 grams or 30 grams, which is all Australian, obviously, with the units and measurements. So it's like 3/4 of an ounce. Anyway, you throw this popper, and I started throwing it beside docks, and it would sweep under the dock float so I could walk it to where it'd sweep under the dock float, and then they'd come up and bust on it. And then, but they were weird to it. And I was like, dude, you made a bluegill color of this thing, and it was like, it was just getting to be topwater time. And I was like, dude, bluegill spawn, like make a bluegill. So I designed the Bartlett bluegill color of this down under. And so it's got an orange cupped mouth and then a bluegill profile on the side. And I started throwing that thing up around some docks, and dude, it was lights out. It was a lot of fun. Still really good. We took it to Texas, catching them over grass, Gunnersville, catching them over grass on it. There's a ton of videos on Cast YouTube channel of all that stuff if you want to go check that stuff out. But really cool relationship there. And then ultimately, Mick in Australia designed the Prodigy, which is a soft plastic swim bait. And so we were like, okay, let's run with this freshwater stuff. If we have soft plastics and these topwater lures, like, we can run with it. We already had the braid over in Australia. We brought the braid over to freshwater, making smaller sizes. And it's like a 12 carrier braid, super slick. You can cast it farther. We've done casting tests against other competitor braids. And it still outcasts them. It was like hitting 120 foot every time, where the competitors were hitting right at between 95 and 105. So like, you're getting a little bit farther of a cast. You're getting 330 yard spools for $60. So you can make that go for, if you use the proper backing, you can make that run for a couple of reels. Just really cool products. And then, so we took the soft plastic swim bait, and I was like, Ryan, this minnow thing is starting to happen. This is like Jacob Wheeler's just started catching them on a freeloader, right? Like this is like the end of 23. I want to say. I was like, Ryan, we got to make a minnow. And so he's like, okay. And I was like, if we take the Prodigy swim bait and just take the tail off of it and make it a fork tail, I was like, we got to make a minnow. And he's like, I don't know. Like, you think that would really sell? Like, it's not a fluke. And I was like, dude, trust me. Like, let's make a minnow. Well, we were able to produce one within 3 months, working back and forth to the factory. It's got a glass rattle in the belly chamber. Really cool minnow. So yeah, that's the Echo there on the left. And we make them in a range of sizes from a 2.75, super small, up to a 7.2. And I started catching them on the big minnow, and we developed the Echo, and that was a really cool bait. And the plastic was what was super important. So they use a proprietary plastic. I went out with the first version of the Prodigy, and I caught 35 spotted bass ditch fishing on one swim bait, and was still using the swim bait at the end of the day. So like, didn't have to change it out, super glue, nothing. Like, the plastic is super durable, but you still have all the action in the tail, which is pretty awesome. So super durable plastic. We just carried that into a worm. We just released our first worm back in November, called the Nova. It's a 4.5 little Nico worm. It's got a glass rattle in it, coffee scented, bunch of cool colors. So the baits, and working on the bait side development with Cass has been a fun side project as well.
Elite Series wise, social media wise, we have literally hundreds of hours of live streaming now. We have all sorts of different formats with scope, no scope. We have tons of YouTube channels, tons of podcasts, tons of shows, lots of creators out there. I don't think it's any secret in saying that the boom in social media content and creation and fishing has plateaued and started to go down. There's very few guys that are actually currently growing in this space right now, as more and more continue to try to break their way into it. You've seen it from the corporate side. You've seen it from the outside looking in. You've seen it from the inside as a content creator. You've seen it from the bait side. It took an hour to get there, but these next 20 minutes, I think, are important.
I think I can go a little over too.
Well, I'm saying is, I'm glad that we spent that hour doing it, because it really set the table for a simple question, which is, how is professional bass fishing content going to be consumed in the future? And are there things that we're seeing now that have been a part of it for the last 30, 40 years that are dying, and things that we don't know about now that will dominate the market space in the next 2-3 years?
For sure. So that's a loaded question, obviously, but we got plenty of room to go with that. So you got to think about how much media has changed in the past 5 years. Like, I don't want to look any farther back than 5 years because there's too much stuff going on with TV shows and all this stuff, and podcasts didn't exist and all this. But you go back.
BTL was around. BTL, we're on season 22 of BTL.
Yes, which is awesome. Yeah, so you guys.
I will say this though, Clint. So for like 5 years, Jeffries would refer to this as the podcast, and I had no idea what a podcast was, and I was doing a podcast every single day. And one time I came in and I was like, hey, if you hit this little purple eye on your phone, this thing pops up, and I searched it, and all of our shows are on it, and it's audio. And Jeffries just looked at me and he goes, that's a podcast, you idiot. And I just thought we were doing it on the website and on the video, and didn't even know we were putting it out. I mean, this was a long time ago, but this was like really early on. Didn't even know that we were putting it out and that people were just listening to it trucking down the road.
Yeah, I remember typing in bass fishing on Spotify when I was working as an electrician in college. And I remember typing in bass fishing, and BTL came up, and that was like one of the first episodes I ever listened to. That was like my sophomore year in college. Been listening since. So I've been
anyway, sorry, not to get you off track. So back to your train of thought here.
You're good. So the way we've consumed content over the past 20 years has changed. Every 5-year increment, it looks completely different, right? And so looking forward to the next 5 years, like, what is it going to happen? But like, if you look back at COVID and reels and short form content, all this stuff, that was the era for these past 5-6 years has been short form content. So what's happened with that? Our attention span has completely changed. We're numb to footage now. Like, everything looks so pretty and polished. And like, you look back at Brandon Polinick was telling the story before anyone else in the industry, ultimately in the way he was making bass fishing look cool. Right. So then in the past 5 years, everybody's tried to copy that or emulate it, whatever. You can say it nicely, but I'm going to say copy that. You're trying to make it look like a Brandon Polinick video, right? Like, you want it to be cinematic. You want to have the B-roll. You want to tell the story. And the thing is like, the story isn't the same, but these guys were recreating these same videos that weren't getting the same. And it's not like Brandon gets a ton of views and going viral either. Brandon told a cool story because he's a cool person, and people latch onto him because of who he is as a person. So ultimately, we got into this phase to where we go and we're attached to the beauty, the look of the sick B-roll shot, the stuff coming off the reel when you set the hook, like Brandon setting the hook in the rain, all these pretty tournament content, like cool B-roll, starting to get into some cool drone shots, all this stuff. And it all just like looks so pretty and foreign and not real. Like, that's where it went. Like, everything was like, how can you make this look as cool as possible and just make it look cool? 4K, everything's clear. Action cameras are getting better. We're getting camera boats. Guys are riding around in camera boats to get the shots with real cameras. So we're not just relying on action cam footage or the 5 guys that might be on live. Like, you're actually getting access to these anglers we've never had access before. That's all changed in the past 5 years. Like, it used to be, you get a Bassmaster TV show and that's all the coverage you get. Now you have live, you know where they're fishing with their dots and everything, unfortunately. And like, you know exactly what's going on with bass fishing and all the tournament style videos. And like, you have these edited videos that look great. They tell a good story. They look awesome. They get you fired up. Like, every Brandon Polinick video I ever watched, I was inspired. Like, it was like, it's cool. It tells the story, but he also shows behind the scenes what it's like to be on the road. This is not an easy lifestyle these guys live. Like, this is not an easy thing that all of us fishermen could do. We couldn't be away from the family this long. We couldn't pick up the family and take an RV and just go out there and do this thing. Like, a lot of us would not be able to do this in the first place. So it looks pretty, right? It looks cool. But it's hard. Like, he puts in all this work. Like, he's probably not even getting the return. Like, you think, oh, he's probably making all kinds of monies and his sponsors love him. It's like, dude, like, of course, yes. But like, he didn't do it for the money or the sponsors. He did it to tell the story. So looking into 2026 and beyond, the story is still the core of content. Why do you click and watch something these days anymore? It's for the story. Like, why are you listening to this podcast right now, listening to some random camera guy blurb about telling the story? It's like, there's a reason you're on BTL. Like, you're connected to storyline, whether it's Matt or back to Mark or the industry in general, or you just enjoy fishing, like there's something tying you to the storyline. So in order for you to find a new audience, we're in a bass fishing industry. It's very small, very large at the same time. We're 2 people removed from knowing the next guy in the industry. I've been in airports to where it's like some guy recognizes a hat and I'm like, dude, what are you doing out here? Like, how do you recognize me from this point of view or this connection, or, hey, you know, this person or whatever. Like, we're all so tight knit. So how do we reach a new audience? Well, we've been telling the same story. It's like tournament fishing, telling the story. This is how the tournament goes. But like, if you're not exposed to that, you're not gonna get a new audience, right? So look at guys outside of the tournament fishing industry, like Ben Milliken, who was in the tournament fishing, obviously, but like he was bank fishing, doing all kinds of things, appealing to a giant audience of fishermen and bank fishermen, like people all over the place, appealing to this giant audience, just telling the story that somebody could relate to, not just the hardcore tournament angler. He was relating to the guy on the bank that fishes once a year. And he was also appealing to the guys that, like, all over, like even hardcore tournament fishing were watching his videos. They were watching anytime he'd go fish a local tournament, all that kind of stuff. Like, that's what built his following so big. He also hit it at a great time. Like, he started early and he put the consistency in and put out the videos. And so, like, when you're putting out so much content, eventually it's gonna stick. Like, you're gonna get an audience. It's gonna build. And as that audience build, more and more people talk. You have the word of mouth, people talking back and forth with each other. Like, you're going to start to get your favorite channels, your favorite avenues, your favorite TV shows of these guys, that the content you want to consume. And so it's really about, you're trying to tell the story. So you're a high school angler right now. What's your story you want to tell? Do you want to say, hey, I just set the hook 5 times today on these 5 bass. I'm going to play a cool track over this video. No words, no personality. This is some kid catching 5 bass for 20 pounds on Lake Lanier. What kind of story does that tell? That used to get away. That used to be, okay, we just made a hype music video catching big fish. Like, that's cool, right? Or would you rather hear that high school kid sit down like I'm sitting now, prop up his phone, talk for a minute and be like, hey, this is what I did today. I went out and caught him. Like, this was really cool. Like, I had a blast. Like, I caught 2 on a shaky head, 1 on a jig, and then I caught 3 on top water, and it was really awesome. Like, I had a blast. Like, the wind was kind of weird. I kind of went through this weird bite window, blah, 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 whatever it is. Like, that's just one example of, like, give them some value, give them a story. Like, this is how my day went. This is what I'm up to. Like, I love Instagram stories because you can tell the story of how your daily life is every single day. I can go from being like, I just ran 5 miles this morning, to I'm eating at this cool taco truck, to I just caught a 5-pounder, to I'm hanging out with the boys later shooting a podcast, or whatever it is. Like, then people start to have a story to latch onto. They're like, okay, this isn't just hardcore tournament fisherman angler B. This is a guy who has a family like I do. He hangs out with the boys like I do. He goes for a run in the morning like I do. And then you start to have more points of contact instead of just that one point of contact of hardcore tournament fishing. Then you bring them all together and you have the holistic, this is how I live my life. I want to watch how you live your life. And then maybe I can take some value of that and bring it into my life. So that's kind of like we're trying to tell that story and really understand, like, how do you do that in day-to-day life? Well, ultimately, it's just like, think about the stories that you want to listen to. Think about a story that's going to be interesting. And when I'm saying story, I'm not sitting here like write Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss and just put it out there every day. Like, I'm just saying, like, take me through what your daily life is like and post it out there. Like, when TikTok first came out in 2020, I started posting every single video that I had in my camera roll. If I made a video or a Snapchat and sent it to one of my friends, I would save it. And then anytime I opened the TikTok app, I would post whatever video it was, something random, saying something silly, whatever it was, like fishing, hunting stuff, like, look at this guy running down the road, whatever it was, I would post it. And then some random videos start gaining traction, and then you start telling a story, because, like, people want to see more than just the face. Like, Instagram is our highlight reel. How do you show the real? Like, how do you show the real stuff in between the highlights? Like, every Instagram post I have is a highlight, but every story I feel like is the body of the sandwich. Like if we're telling this fishing content BTL sandwich this week, going from Rackley to Castledine to Milliken to having some content guy in the middle of it, it's like, what is this whole like content sandwich telling? Like we're bringing all these different aspects of our industry together, and all of us, everybody that's watching the show can relate to something that's being talked about or said on the show. That's why they're watching. So how can you bring this to your audience? Like your audience could be 5 people. Like you get mad if you get 100 views on something, dude, fill up a room with 100 people and go talk to them. See if you can, because like you're talking to a lot more people than you realize. Like when you only have 100 guys watching the podcast, you're like, views were kind of down right now. It's like, dude, fill up a room with 100 people and see what it looks like. And then you have one of those videos blow up and you get 100,000 views. Fill up an auditorium with 100,000 people and think about what impact you actually have. But like our attention spans are super short. So you have to remember, like, how do we catch that? And I've noticed like lately Milliken's kind of changed his approach on his YouTube videos. So instead of starting out the story of like putting the boat in the morning, and then we make our first cast, we catch a 2-pounder, and then 3 hours go by, we don't catch anything. And then, okay, we just caught a giant, right? We just caught one of those 6, 7, 8-pounders that he catches all the time. And then another hour or 2 goes by. Like if I tell the story like that, they're going to be gone before he even takes the key out of his truck and goes to put the boat in the water. But what he's doing now is he is doing a voiceover with all the highlights from that video that you're about to watch. You get a quick little peek at that 8-pounder. You get a quick little peek at this hook set. Oh my gosh, I just catch that giant, that teaser, that hook. Like you get that in the very beginning, because we need confirmation that it's worth taking this 20 minutes to watch this YouTube video. We need to know that we're going to gain some value. And what is the value we're gaining? If you just start out the video putting it at the boat ramp, I don't know, you could go out and just blank. You could, like, we don't know what's going to happen. You could put a clickbait thumbnail, we just caught 40 pounds, and then you get to the end of the video and they never caught 40 pounds, or they caught 1 paddlefish, right? So I feel like that's one of the biggest things is like, you got to figure out what story you're going to tell. And then where is it all going now? So that's the other half of that question. Is like, where is it going now? Mm-hmm. I think live is very important. And so like, especially with Bassmaster tweaking around, trying to take it away, give it back, all this stuff. I've been saying for 5 years, I've talked to Bassmaster about it. And like, if I could log in and it's the Elite Series tournament on Lake Murray or wherever, and I could be like, I want to watch Patrick Walters. I don't care if it's GoPro footage or what. I want to watch Patrick Walters all day. I should be able to go click and tune into his live GoPro feed to watch Patrick Walters. And I would pay for that. As a fan, I would pay $5 a tournament or something like that. Think about that. If people paid $5 a tournament to tune into the footage they're already using, they're already streaming. Now, yeah, you probably have to get some Starlinks out there and all that stuff and like actually do it right to provide a service that people are paying for. But if you could choose, instead of just, because we're not going to put a camera guy in every boat. It's not feasible. But if you could actually go choose into the live stream like Chris Saldane, Logan Parks, and I know Matt Robertson tried it for a while. He's probably going to be streaming again this year. Like a bunch of other guys are getting streaming. Kyle Patrick, I know, is streaming. So like, I think the streaming thing gives us live access to what's going on in the tournament, because like with Bass Track, with all this access to information we have now, we want more. Like we have just created this monster of like, we want more. We want to know, we want to know, we want to know. And as a fan, we want to know like what's going on, what's going on, what's going on. So how do you feed that as well? So that's where consistency comes in. So you only have 9 Bassmaster tournaments in the year. So as an Elite Series angler, how do you fill up all that other content, all that other gap that where people are going to forget about you in the off season? That's where these guys need to start propping up their phone. Like use your phone, get a decent mic if you want to really step it up, but like use your phone, get a decent cheap tripod and just start talking. Kyle Welcher does a great job of stuff like this. Like sets up talks about a topic, brings it up, like does awesome. He's done awesome content. Like since I was filming with him for Black Rifle back in 2020, he was shooting awesome content because he was being real, raw, and he was just being himself and putting out content because like that was him. And he hasn't changed since that point. Like he has stayed true to himself, and it's finally like starting to get the views and doing well. And like he's has that as a benefit for what he's doing now. So like put out that story, but also just keep people in the loop. Like if it's out of sight, out of mind. Like I took a break from TikTok for like 3 years and then started posting consistently for like 3 months and wasn't seeing anything for views. Now it's finally starting after a year of like consistently posting again. You got to wake it back up. So like if you let something die like that, it takes a long time to get out of it. So don't let your social media die. You don't have to post every single day, but keep something active. And it's not that hard. Like just keep something active. Keep your stories active at least, or start posting.
Do you
once
think
a
there
month.
needs to be like a rookie class where it goes through where someone like you or someone comes in and talks to them and kind of gives them the game, the blueprint, or is that kind of on the individual to be like, hey, you're a sole proprietor of this. It's up to you to figure out. And if you don't want to do it, you don't. But like, do you think there's any responsibility to give those anglers the tools to do that? Or is it on each angler to kind of figure out their own path?
So it's funny you asked that because we actually do that with Yamaha. So we bring in our rookie class of anglers or first guys into the office before the season starts and go through a angler media training. So we take them through like the do's and don'ts of public speaking, what you want to do social media content wise, give them suggestions. I'll do a big section on social media and walk them through like, hey, this is stuff that's working now. This is where things are going. Live is important. Like set up your phone and do a Q&A once a week, something like that. Like giving them these tips. And that's something that is a premium perk of being sponsored by Yamaha, obviously, right? Like it's not like the entire field is that way. I do think it's something that it's the angler's responsibility to put that content. Like they've got to show up to work. They got to clock in, right? And if they don't want to, they need to find somebody that will to do it. There's plenty of guys that has other people run their social medias for it. Some is their wives, some kid they paid a couple $100 to do it per week. And it shows. Like the guys that like really care about the content, it still shows because they at least put in some type of effort. Like we're at the point where we see so much content that if you just put in a little bit of effort, it goes a long way. So like being able to take a little bit of time to set up your phone for a podcast like this, like I was supposed to do this on the computer with a better camera and all that stuff. And then we had some issues or whatever, but we still have set up a phone it's on a Yeti water bottle right now and a microphone in a meeting room in corporate America. Like you can set up something instead of your dark truck and up on a phone mount.
dark ass truck.
Dark ass truck. And you're losing light. Like you start out with a little bit of light and then it just gets dark and then you're grainy, ISO blown out, all that fun stuff.
Very good question for Brian here. He said, is there a fine line between keeping active and too much fluff? Some creators make too many videos, in my opinion. So I struggle with this on BTL too, right? So like 24 hours ago, I had Rackley on, Lake Fork guy, million followers, wanted to have him on for a couple years, another banger show awesome to kick the year off. But then immediately the following morning, you have Castledine. Then I drop a best on tour this week with Dave Rush. Then I drop a CTL live in the evening with that. And now I'm on with you live now. So on my channel and my podcast, I want to highlight Rackley, but then 6 hours later, I want to make sure that I'm highlighting the latest and greatest news. Then the Castledine is a banger, so I want people to know that that's out. But then this is episode 3 is CTL, so I want to make sure that people are that available. And now I've ended up with 7 hours of content, live content and edited footage and news footage in 24 hours out on BTL. And I feel like a lot of the good stuff gets lost because of how much content I'm putting out. But I also know that this is my full-time job and I want to continue to pump content out, especially to start a new year. And it seems like a catch-22 for me.
So the biggest thing with that is you're not losing by posting too much content. you are losing by not posting enough. So think about it like if I'm going to shoot a shotgun versus being dialed in. So like you have the dialed in rifle shot of Rackley, right? And then you have Castle, like these are all dialed in. But like if you're putting them all out in the same week, it's kind of going out to a bunch of different people. Like I might only see the Rackley one come up and miss Todd. And then I might miss CTL and I'll probably miss Clint. But then I'll catch this at the end of the week. Well, the beauty of YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all this stuff is if they want to see it, it's on your page. It's there. So they're not going to miss it.
Technically, it's not there because I don't do YouTube, I don't do Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok at this moment. Okay. But I have gotten married in the last 3 months, and we do have a TikTok, an Instagram, and a Facebook ready to roll.
Let's stick with YouTube. So it's on your YouTube channel.
Which is a big mistake on me. I know. You're in the back of your head. You're going, God, you're wasting so much good shit.
No, honestly. So with the platforms, I say stick to the big, like 3 or 4. So like pick 2 that you really like. Like I jive well with Instagram. And then what I do with my Instagram is I just link everything to Facebook. So everything I post on Instagram goes to Facebook. So that covers Facebook. Most of everything I post on Instagram, I'll post to TikTok as well. So like you can cover the blanket. YouTube, I don't post anything to, but like I'm on it all the time. That's how I consume content. I don't have Netflix or Hulu or a single subscription service, but I have YouTube Premium and watch it. So you got to think like this morning I missed the Rackley show because I was out to a dinner, so I didn't get to watch that show. But I watched Todd live yesterday. I watched CTL live last night, but I didn't see the Rackley show yet. So this morning, top of my feed on my YouTube is the Rackley show. So I wasn't there to watch it Monday night, but I listened to it on my run this morning. So it's like you can still hit them a couple of days later, like it's able to do that. So hang on 1 second. We might be getting kicked out of this meeting here.
No, that's fine. We could wrap it up then.
Yeah. Hang on 1 second.
Okay.
Hey, how's it going?
We're going to wrap it up then. Let me,
thank you. Just give me 1 second to take all this stuff down. Thank you.
Clint. Hey, that's the cleanest end to a BTL show that we could have. We totally got into it. I mean, we're an hour and 28 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes in. It's right at 10. So I can't thank you enough, Clint. This was an eye-opening show, and I've been talking to you, asking about camera stuff and working on it, and you're very knowledgeable and very well done. And as far as hearing that story, you get a lot of guys. It's funny. You get a lot of guys. How do I get in the industry? What do I do? And the real answer is you start grinding. You show up every day. You take your opportunities. And things happen. I mean, this is an industry that you can break in. It's really cool to hear everyone's kind of origin stories, and yours is a great one. So,
well, thanks for having me on. I'm sorry. I know we went a little all over the place.
Not at all. I told you it'd be an hour. We're an hour and a half. So,
yeah. And I mean, the biggest thing, just go out there and make it. You're not going to make bad content. Like, just go put it out. It doesn't matter. Like, you can go on my YouTube page and go look back 5 years. It's bad. There's all kinds of bad stuff out there, and there's some good stuff out there too. So it's like, don't be afraid to post it. Just go do it. It's like working out. You got to show up every day. You got to take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. I'm down 60 pounds because I finally decided to take care of myself back in 2023. So it's like, it takes a long time. It takes a long time for growth. You're not going to see overnight growth, but just make sure that you stay consistent with it and enjoy it. Not everybody's a content creator either, so don't force it.
Yep. Clint, get out of that room. There's corporate meetings that have to take place.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Matt.
Yep. All right. Clint Bartlett. One of the things that I always think is interesting, and it's whether you're just watching the content, creating it, consuming it, or whatever, is I like to you look back at stuff. I would do this a lot with BTL. Your life has pretty much been documented. So you're 22, 23 years old. Now I'm 41. I always look back and I'm like, God, that sucked. I can't believe we put that out. But I also remember at the time how cool we thought it was. And one of the neat things I think about social media, about the YouTube and doing all this stuff, is you can tell guys stories. Like, you can go back, like I did just there on Milliken's page, to 10 years ago when he's posting his first YouTube videos that aren't getting very many views, and it's just him, and then watch the whole progression all the way through winning opens, making elite series, back-to-back classics, and now the next chapter. And that's something that hasn't really existed in the past, is the ability to go out and create a thumbprint to where when these anglers, whether you're opens angler or a elite series angler, to go back and say, okay, like if I'm invested in this, I can go back and I can see their story. It's really cool stuff. All right. I mentioned a lot of content in the first 48 hours of recording stuff for BTL, the Rackley Show, the Castledine Show, this show with Clint Bartlett. We're going to continue tomorrow with a brand new limited run 600 color drop. Frank Scalish is on. I believe it's one of the deep diving Flashpoint Juniors in a really cool color. Also going to dive more into some fishing adventures with Frank, probably talk a little bit more about how the spoonbill went down. And then next Monday, Brian Latimer on the show. Next Tuesday, Ben Milliken on the show. Tomorrow after the show, I'm actually headed up to Rayburn to do a little pre-practice for the first Bassmaster Open of the 2026 season. Videos there on the Cast YouTube channel, also on his own social media. So we'll talk to everybody same place, same time tomorrow. See ya.